Darkest Dungeon 2, my fair review. Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid valley, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them. It's finally out, after over a year in early access and at least 3 to 4 years in development, the direct sequel to one of the best, if not the best, modern, real roguelikes in video gaming history. By the time of this review, I had close to 300 hours of game time, with over dozens of torch and infernal victories. With final release, we get pets, a new hero, and final 2 chapters, as well as thousands of minor balancing tweaks. Have in mind, this version of the game is just the beginning. 1.0 version is basically early access and just a small glimpse of what this game will be in a year or 2 from now. Mods will be available, new maps I hope, new enemies, new bosses, new mini-bosses, new playable heroes. Content we get in 1.0 version is around 70% of what we're going to get in the future. Now, off we go to the first section. Story. Epic writing, epic narration, mystery, darkness, pain, suffering, and victory. Story is there to justify the gameplay, as it should be in video games. Story never holds you down or breaks immersion of gameplay. This is how you do story in video games, by the way. A classic example. As far as details go, every hero has its own personal story. The goal is to reach the mountain and recover your lost memory. All small details of story will be presented by the best narrator ever. I won't give any more spoilers here. Amazing quotes and descriptions in the game, by the way. 9 out of 10 for the story. Next section would be game bugs and optimization. Even during early access, this was always a clean game with very small amount of bugs. And thus, they fixed nearly everything that community spotted. Perfect game, mega fast loading screens, optimized to perfection. It's not system demanding at all. Bug-free, clean, finished product, tested. In the year of flops and unfinished games, Darkest Dungeon 2 stands proudly at the top of the mountain, 10 out of 10 for game bugs and optimization. Next section would be game difficulty. Slowly, gently, this is how life is taken. Here we go. This game is brutal, it's hard, it's rage-inducing, and I love it. It's always fair, by the way. When you die, you died because you made a mistake. Well, at least in 90% of time for experienced players, of course. That 10% is some crazy lucky death crit and insta-dead door annihilation. This game requires time, dedication, knowledge that you will only get through non-stop failure, by the way. And of course, it requires patience. Once you achieve your first victory, you'll feel accomplished and happy in return, I guarantee it. Rewards are also there, by the way, but later about that. 10 out of 10 for the game difficulty, it doesn't get better than this. Next section would be game time. If you know what you're doing, around 50 to 100 hours is needed to finish this one. In 90% of cases, over 150 hours to 250 hours and above should be the average time for completion for those that can actually finish the game, because it's very hard after all. First Darkest Dungeon had only 0.6% of players that finished on default settings, and Darkest Dungeon 2 is even harder than Darkest Dungeon 1. I know, cause I was in those 0.6% of players in Darkest Dungeon 1 vanilla. Anyways, the game is a bang for your buck, with huge replay value, with additional content along the way, and more content will come on every month or so. Potential is just huge and through the roof for Darkest Dungeon 2. Game time, pure 10 out of 10. Money, man. Low amount of money, huge amount of fun. Next section would be maps and graphics. Solid variety of maps, but I firmly believe that it's not enough. It mimics variety of Darkest Dungeon 1. I wish it was at least 2 times more, 2 times bigger in variety. As far as map design goes, it's really good. New art style and graphics are just straight epic. Combat animations are one of the best, if not the best, I've seen in a turn-based game ever. It's smooth, it's satisfying, it's responsive, it's fast, merges extremely well with gameplay, and pacing is just unreal for a turn-based game. UI is phenomenal, it's clean, it's simple to use and understand, but with a lot of info. To put it short, variety will come in the next few months for sure. For version 1.0, it's good enough. This is one gorgeous game. 10 out of 10 for maps and graphics. Next section would be gameplay. It's a roguelike, punishing brutal roguelike with small elements of roguelite. It has nothing to do with Darkest Dungeon 1, by the way. Dungeon crawling doesn't exist in Darkest Dungeon 2. There are no dungeons and there is no crawling. You are riding on your chariot of doom into oblivion. Obstacles, choices and consequences along the way, multiple paths with traps, rewards, loot, combat, mini bosses, big bosses and huge chapter bosses. Every stupid move you make will cost you dearly. You lose candles and you're gonna lose your nerves. The only goal is to reach the mountain and recover your lost memory so you can advance to the next chapter. Prepare to suffer. This could be the best turn-based game ever created and one of the best, if not the best, roguelikes ever. Gameplay is addicting, time flies with this game, and I mean it, it flies. Most of the time I was like, yo, I need to stop playing for 6 hours without a break and then look at my screen, and I was like, holy, I'm playing the game for 11 hours, not 6. That's how fast the time goes with Darkest Dungeon 2. Gameplay, pure 10 out of 10. This is the game about gameplay. 10 out of 10. Next section would be leveling and itemization. There is a lot, so I'll make it straightforward and short here. 12 playable heroes in version 1.0. At least 3 more are coming in the future, and God knows how many of them with mods. Every hero has its default version and 3 subclasses in total, so there are 48 different builds to play with, at least 300 different team compositions in total. Most of the heroes are back from Darkest Dungeon 1, and those that are not will be back in the future patches. Leveling comes through candles. The further you reach, the more candles of hope you'll get. With candles of hope, you'll upgrade passive and active abilities on the altar of hope once you start a new run. Upgrading your chariot, your heroes, encounters and curios, there's a lot of things to max out, and it takes time, a lot of time and a lot of grinding to do it all. Failure is not an option. In order to progress, you'll need to know when to quit and collect your hard-earned candles. Insane amount of items and trinkets in the game. All impactful and all can save the run or change its course drastically. Again, this is not Darkest Dungeon 1, this is a different game, and so is the leveling. 9 out of 10, it's innovative. Next section would be NPCs and enemies. No NPCs in the game, only narrator with his quotes. No one else is needed, to be honest. NPCs are actually your heroes, those that travel together on the road to oblivion. Enemies, well, around 60 or so different enemies in the game, very good variety, and I believe it can be even better with above 100 different enemies in the future patches. 5 main chapter bosses, mini bosses and map bosses are also included in the game. Main bosses are challenging, require knowledge and preparation. Mini bosses like Shambler are there once you run out of torch, or if you like to play without a torch, but better to say infernal runs. Map bosses are not a joke, and every map boss requires a different team composition to beat. If you don't beat the map boss, you won't be able to see the final chapter boss. You need a trophy, or better to say, map boss head, in order to advance. I have a feeling like it's not enough. I see huge potential for variety, but it's just not enough. I wanna see more, because games like this deserve more variety. 9 out of 10 for NPCs and enemies. Last section is music and sound. amazing main theme, and I mean it, I love it. I love the main theme of Darkest Dungeon 2, one of my favorite tunes actually in the last year or so. Great soundtracks in the game, great sound effects, and of course voice acting, or should I say the best narrator in video gaming history is back with his quotes. Every single line of text is voice acted. Pure 10 out of 10, music and sound, voice acting, all of that adds so freaking much to the immersion, and it never breaks the gameplay. Amazing, 10 out of 10. Final verdict, we got 9 sections with 87 points, and that would be 9.6 out of 10 for Darkest Dungeon 2. Yes, close to perfection. The best turn-based roguelike, or should I say potential in the next year to become the best turn-based roguelike ever created. It's not Darkest Dungeon 1, and a lot of people will hate it because of that fact. They expect Darkest Dungeon 1. Darkest Dungeon 2 is one brave move from devs, changing the concept of how everything works, risking to create another unique title instead of going for better graphics with Darkest Dungeon 1 mechanics. They brought us something new, something innovative. That takes balls. I love innovation and uniqueness in games. Darkest Dungeon 2 is both of those, innovative and unique. Finished product with stars as its limit. Right now, it will offer you hundreds of hours of suffering and joy. This is a strong GOTY contender for 2023. Now, as far as nitpicking goes, balancing, small issues and all of that is also on my channel in terms of feedback videos where I mostly trash talk about horrid relation system in the game. The only thing that annoys me in this masterpiece, Darkest Dungeon 2 is already in the top 100 games in a video gaming history. Easily. This is what video games are about. Okay, like we're back in 90s, 2000s, right? It's everything about gameplay, a true gameplay, no stupid agendas in the game, no crap, nothing that takes away your time as a player. The game respects your time and it respects the player. Everything is about gameplay. As always, thanks for watching and I'll be seeing you on the next one.